So, when Pope Francis's historic run ended in 2025, a massive question mark was just hanging over the Vatican, right? And his successor, Pope Leo XIV, well, he was pretty much a mystery when it came to one of the biggest, most divisive issues in the church, its relationship with LGBTQ+ Catholics. And you know what? The signal he sent in his first few months, nobody saw it coming.
Okay, so our story actually doesn't start in the Vatican. It starts on a road in Italy. I want you to just picture this for a second. You've got 1,200 people. Many of them are LGBTQ+ Catholics, and they are walking 80 miles on a pilgrimage to Rome. They're all looking for some kind of sign, right? Some confirmation that their faith and who they are can actually exist together. And that right there, that was the big question. With a new guy in St. Peter's chair, were the doors of the church going to be open to them, or were they about to be slammed shut? I mean, the stakes for them, and honestly for millions of other people, were just unbelievably high. So this pilgrimage, it basically became a test case. A pilgrimage of hope, yeah, but one that put the new pope's direction under this massive global microscope. And look, this wasn't just some, abstract theological debate. We're talking about real people here. A historian from Bologna who loves his faith and also happens to perform in drag. A woman from Belgium transitioning and searching for courage. A math teacher from Naples just seeking God. Every single one of them was walking toward Rome, just hoping, really hoping for a sign that their church would accept them. Okay, so to really get why everyone was holding their breath, we got to rewind a little. We have to look at the Pope who just left the stage. Because Pope Francis, man, he left behind a legacy that was a very tough act to follow. For 12 whole years, Pope Francis completely changed the tone of the conversation. It all started back in 2013 with that line we've all heard, "Who am I to judge?" Then he met over and over with LGBTQ+ advocates, and then, the big one, in 2024, he gave priests the green light to bless same-sex couples. Now, he didn't change the official rules, the doctrine, but he totally changed the church's stance. It became about welcome. But then, in comes the new guy. Pope Leo XIV, elected in May of 2025. And almost right away, some of his old comments started popping up. And that just sent this wave of anxiety and uncertainty through the community. Nobody knew where he really stood.
And wow, the contrast was just night and day. On one hand, you have Pope Francis asking, "Who am I to judge?" And on the other, you have these comments from 2012 from the man who is now Pope Leo, where he criticized the quote-unquote homosexual lifestyle. So the big question was, which one is it going to be? Which voice is going to define his time as Pope?
So, while those pilgrims are on the road, walking, the Vatican is getting ready to send a message. And not just any message, a really clear, really public signal. And it all came down to a single meeting.
Then, on September 1st, it happens. The Vatican press office makes an official announcement. Pope Leo XIV is holding a private audience. And of course, everyone's thinking the same thing. With who?
And here's the answer. The Pope met with Reverend James Martin. Now, if you don't know, he's one of the biggest, most well-known advocates for LGBTQ+ inclusion in the whole Catholic Church. And after the meeting, Father Martin comes out and drops this bombshell of a quote. He says he heard the exact same message of welcome from Pope Leo that he used to hear from Pope Francis.
And listen, the details here really matter. This wasn't just some quick handshake in a hallway. It was a full 30-minute meeting. And the fact that the Vatican officially announced it, that means they wanted everyone to know this was happening. Pope Leo apparently told Father Martin, straight up, to keep doing what he's doing. It was about as clear a signal of continuity as you can possibly get. All right, so the Vatican sent a pretty clear signal. But you've got a church with over 1 billion people in it. How did that signal actually land? Well, let's take a look at the fallout. The reaction was, as you might guess, completely polarized. For progressive groups like New Ways Ministry, it was a strong indication that, yes, the welcoming approach is going to continue. But for more conservative outlets like LifeSite News, they called it a nightmare scenario. I mean, this one meeting just perfectly showed the deep divisions inside the church on this whole thing. Which brings us right back to them, those 1,200 pilgrims walking that long 80-mile road. You have to imagine, as the news of this meeting started to trickle out, what an incredible sense of hope that must have given them.
And then came the final confirmation, and this one was huge. During that meeting with Father Martin, Pope Leo XIV actually quoted Pope Francis's famous phrase in Spanish that the church has to be for todos, 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 for everyone, everyone, everyone. Think about that. He wasn't just carrying on a policy, he was literally speaking the same language of his predecessor.
So it kind of leaves us with this final thought, right? We're always looking for these huge, dramatic breaks from the past to signal that things are changing. But maybe, just maybe, in an institution that's been around for 2,000 years, the most radical thing you can do is not to change direction, but simply to say, we're going to continue.